morning, everyone. So today, we will discuss Chapter 21 about Urochordata and Cephalochordata. So before we formally start our discussion, let us define first what is phylum Chordata. So phylum Chordata refers to an animal phylum characterized by the presence of pharyngeal gill slits, a notochord, a dorsal hollow nerve cord, and a post-anal tail. So the three subphyla of the phylum Chordata are Urochordata, Cephalochordata, and Vertebrata. Therefore, the closest relatives of vertebrates are Urochordates and Cephalochordates. Both Urochordates and Cephalochordates are called protochordates. So what is protochordates? Protochordates are an informal category of animals named mainly for convenience to describe invertebrate animals that are closely related to vertebrates. Urochordates are the more closely related group to vertebrates, while Cephalochordates are more closely related to echinoderms. Now that we have a brief introduction about the phylum Chordata, let us now define what is Urochordata. So Urochordata is a group of chordates comprising of tunicates. So what is tunicates? Tunicates are also called sea squirts. The majority of tunicates are sessile. The Urochordates or tunicates possess a cellulus containing tunic enclosing the organism. The most significant feature of Urochordates is the presence of a notochord in the larval stage. The body of the adult Urochordates is unsegmented and lacks a tail. The body is covered by a test or a cuticular tunic. The test is formed by tunicine that is rallied to cellulose. So the term tunicates has been derived from the unique outer covering of tunic. The tunic is formed from proteins and carbohydrates. The tunic acts as exoskeleton and also referred to as test. So the notochord of the Urochordates can be identified only in the posterior part of the body. Urochordates consist of a notochord only in the larval stage. So the body structure of Urochordates have an unsegmented body, and the circulatory system of Urochordates have an open circulatory system with a heart. So the excretion of Urochordates occurs through nephrocytes. So nephrocytes are specialized cells whose functions involves waste or excretory products being accumulated or created. So these animals are free swimming during the larval stage, while the adults are sessile. So the Urochordates undergo asexual reproduction by body, and the sex separation of Urochordates are bisexual or hermaphrodites.
A tunicate is a type of marine invertebrate belonging to the subphylum Tunicata. It is classified as a chordata animal, which is a phylum comprised of all creatures possessing dorsal nerve cords and notochords. The larvae are tadpole-like and have notochord and nerve cord. The larvae are free-swimming but do not feed. A notochord is a flexible rod-like cord of cells that provides the main support for the organism's body during its embryonic stage. In some organisms like the tunicates, the notochord disappears in the organism's adult stage. In other organisms like the vertebrates, the notochord is replaced or surrounded by the backbone in the organism's adult stage. Chordates also have a dorsal nerve cord that runs down the length of the organism. The dorsal nerve cord has pairs of nerves that connect to the organism's muscles. In some organisms, the dorsal nerve cords expands into a brain at the top. Tunicates feed mainly by filtration because they are immobile filter feeders. They are generating water currents that penetrate the interior of the organism through the oral or incurrent siphon. In this way, they trap plankton organisms and particulate organic matter. The body wall of Urochordates is composed of an epidermis, dermis, and arterial epithelium. The epithelium of Urochordates is made up of a single layer. The dermis is made up of muscles and connective tissues. Tunicates can use circular muscles to extend, Shorten, bend, close, and open these two apertures. The tunicate's body is separated into two regions, the upper, which is the pharyngeal, and the lower, which is the abdominal. A pharynx is located in the upper area. The digestive and reproductive organs, as well as a primitive heart, are located in the bottom portion. Chordates also have pharyngeal slits. These are openings that connect the pharynx or throat to the outside of the neck. In some primitive species, the slits are used to filter food out of the water. In other species like fish, the pharyngeal slits have gills. In other species like mammals, the pharyngeal slits are only present during the embryonic stage. Urochordates exhibit a ciliary mode of feeding. They have an open circulatory system. A single dorsal ganglion is present in the nervous system. Nephrocytes are responsible for the excretion of urochordates. The asexual reproduction of urochordates occurs by budding. It occurs in Taliaceae and sea squirts. Two types of budding are recognized as propagation and survival. Budding spread generally occurs when the environmental conditions are suitable. In the case of ascidians, it helps a rapid colonization of the substrate. It also serves to increase the size of the colony. When we're talking about survival budding, when environmental conditions are unfavorable, the colonies produce buds called potentials. They will not grow while conditions are adverse. When conditions improve, the buds experience rapid growth. Urochordates are bisexual and the external fertilization is the mode of sexual reproduction. Most tunicates are simultaneous hermaphrodites, means that an individual possesses both male and female organs. In sea squirts, fertilization can be external or internal and produces an egg that hatches into a larva called a tadpole. However, in some species, development is direct, which means that there is no larval stage. In Taliaceans, unlike ascidiates, there is no free living larvae. There are species that present alternation of sexual and asexual generations, presenting internal fertilization during sexual reproduction. Class Ascidiacea. Adult ascidians are commonly called sea squirts. Sea squirts are inhabitants of the intertidal zone. They may be either solitary, colonial, or composite. They are all filter feeders. Most are mucociliary filter feeders, feeding on a variety of planktonic forms, but some are predators. They are hermaphroditic, produce both egg and sperm, and generally show only two chordate characteristics in the adult from pharyngeal slits and an endostyle. Class Taliaceae, also known as salps. They are surrounded by circular muscle bands and both ends of their cylindrical body are open. Constructions of circular muscle make the body pulsate. These create a form of jet propulsion and a mechanism for filter feeding. In contrast to the sea squirts with siphons at the same end, most salps have siphons at opposite ends of the cylindrical bodies. They too filter feed using mucus, but the body of water stream is produced by muscular construction rather than by cilia in the Ascidiacea.
Good day, I am Kudin Matulak. So today I will going to discuss about the Subphylum Cephalochordata. A cephalochordate comes from a Greek word means cephalo or the head and chorda means cord. It is an animal in the chordate Subphylum Cephalochordata. They are commonly called amphibious. Amphi means both ends and oxys means sharp. Also, Cephalochordata refers to a group of chordates comprising of lancelets. They are named for their blade-like shape. Lancelets are small, segmented, fish-like animals. They are only a few centimeters long and are usually found buried in the sand at the bottom of warm, temperate, and tropical seas. Cephalochordates are segmented marine animals that possess elongated bodies containing a notochord that extends the length of the body from head to tail. They are only a few centimeters in length and due to their lack of mineralized skeleton, their presence in the fossil record is minimal. Cephalochordates possess 5 synapomorphies, or primary characteristics that all chordates have at some point during their larval or adulthood stages. These 5 synapomorphies include a notochord, dorsal hollow nerve cord, endostyle, pharyngeal slits, and post-anal tail. So here are the parts of a cephalochordate, specifically lancelet. So it has a notochord, endostyle, nerve cord, gill slits, liver, gonads, intestine, fin race, caudal fin, and anus. The main feature of cephalochordates is the presence of a notochord that extends through the entire length of the body. The adult cephalochordates have a head and a tail but do not have appendages. Instead, dorsal, ventral, and caudal fins are present in the body. The body of cephalochordates is fish-like and is adapted for swimming and burrowing. Cephalochordates have developed a filter feeding system. It is called the oral hood that serves as the entrance for incoming food particles. The free edge of the oral hood contains buccal cirri. It is a small filament-like projections that assist in sifting out larger food particles before they enter the buccal cavity. These projections are chemoreceptors that stimulate the epithelial cilia lining inside the walls of the oral hood to bring food particles into the mouth. The coordinated movement of several ciliated tracts help facilitate food ingestion through a rotating motion that is similar to that of a wheel. It causes cilia to be referred to as wheel organ. The food particles adhere to secreted mucus on the pharyngeal bars before transferring to the epibronchial groove on the dorsal side of the pharynx. Food particles are then transported to the gut while excess water is pumped out the pharynx through the pharyngeal slits. The excess water excretes from the body using a single antropore of the atrium.
Hi, I am April Joy Relativo and I will discuss the similarities and differences of Urochordata and Cephalochordata. So first, let's go to the similarities of Urochordata and Cephalochordata. First, Urochordata and Cephalochordata are two subphyla of phylum Chordata. They are also the two most relative groups of vertebrates. Also, they are consist of pharyngeal gill slits, a notochord, a dorsal, hollow, nerve cord, and a post-anal tail. And lastly, both are lack of well-developed sensory organs. Next, let's go to the differences of Urochordata and Cephalochordata. First, Urochordata draws food through siphon into atrium from pharyngeal slits, while Cephalochordata uses cilia to move food particles from slit. Next, in Urochordata, the food is filtered by mucous net, while in Cephalochordata, the food is trapped in pharynx. Lastly, the main difference between Urochordata and Cephalochordata is that Urochordata consists of a notochord extended in the head region, whereas Cephalochordata contains the notochord in the posterior region of the body. That would be all. Thank you.